Hey guys, EDDBUD here, and it's about that time for the weekly running news. If I seem a little out of sorts today, it's because the shoe sanctuary is even warmer than it has been recently. If you hear some strange noises, it's because I've had to open the windows. It's punishingly hot. The watch reckons it's 33 degrees right now, which for us Brits is pretty warm. Just bear that in mind. And if I pass out or something and you've just got, a blank screen for a while, you know what happened. So story 1 today revolves around the launch of a new Nike recycled canvas pack. It's called the Sportswear Recycled Canvas Pack. It's a load of classic shoes that Nike have brought back out. Some of the real favourites in there, the Air Max 90, a few other Air Max variations. Why, you may ask, EDDBUD, are you telling us about this? Well, I noticed that they've remodelled the old classic running shoes, the Cortez and also the Daybreak. They're using a host of different textile waste to bring back these shoes with new canvas uppers. Nike say they're using bits of leather, tongues and foam from those shoes, and also laces, and also implementing that crater foam that they've been using in the recent Space Hippie series. So rather than the traditional midsoles for those running shoes, crater foam is there to replace it. I'm wondering whether this could become a thing in some of their more modern offerings. They seem to be testing out crater foam in all sorts of different other shoes, mainly casual shoes up to now. But of course in the Space Hippie series, we did see them using crushed up pieces of ZoomX to create a special insole that goes on top of that crater foam. Any of you who have bought Nike shoes recently will notice their ongoing Move to Zero initiative on their packing boxes, which I think is a really fantastic idea. It's clearly an ongoing process to limit or reuse waste and put it back into their products, a little bit like a sportswear version of Wally. I'm betting that crater foam is going to appear in some more performance-based training shoes very soon. Not sure it'll appear in race shoes, and I'm willing to bet that the offcuts of ZoomX will at some point appear in some sort of running shoe, maybe as an insole perhaps. That seems to be a real thing at the moment, people providing much more cushioned insoles to go on top of already very cushioned midsoles. It's quite interesting seeing some of the innovations that they're putting into the shoes and recycling old running shoes as well. I think that's a great idea. Story 2 involves crossover technologies between football boots and running shoes. You all know I'm very intrigued by how basketball shoes cross over with running shoe technology almost on a monthly basis. We've certainly seen it with the launch of the Nike Alphafly Next Percent and that cross between the LeBron 17. But what about football? Adidas recently announced the X Ghosted, an almost translucent-like looking football boot that's actually based on a running spike last. So just like the Stray Cat song, this is built for speed, and I'm sure that some of the upper technologies used here are going to be used in running shoes in the future. So there's a single layer material that wraps around the foot that's completely seamless. They've then got a wire type frame that goes around the foot, so you've got an absolutely locked in feel. Sounds very reminiscent of the Cellar Mesh that we've recently seen on the Adizero Pro, and that's to be used on the Adizero Adios Pro as well. Having seams on a running shoe upper seems to be a constant problem and also creates areas that can rub or create blisters. The X Ghosted football boot also uses that Carbotex carbon plate, although just in the forefoot section of the shoe this time. We've seen that plate used in the Adizero Pro recently, with flex in only certain areas of the foot. I think we might see some sort of vacuum fit, snug, supportive upper in a running shoe in the very near future. So lots of nods to running shoe technologies here within this football boot. Some very similar innovations being used in a game that's becoming more and more about pace and fitness. Story 3 today surrounds the Adidas Ultraboost 21. So some images have appeared online, possibly leaked from somebody, of 3 different colourways of the Adidas Ultraboost 21. Obviously we're miles off yet getting to 21, we're still dealing with 2020, which has proven to be a problematic year. Very interesting looks here, I think you'll agree. An almost rocker-like outsole, midsole shape. Upper looks certainly more reminiscent of a standard running shoe with that ventilated section in the toe box and around the sides of the foot. It looks like they've relieved the amount of weight and plastic used on those wrap sections around the midfoot, but I think any weight save there is going to be taken up by the absolutely humongous amount of boost in the heel. It's just gargantuan. I actually can't quite believe it. Maybe Adidas are actually trolling us with these images. The amount of boost is gargantuan, and it's curved in the heel right through to the forefoot. Almost Hoka-like, I would suggest, in its rocker shape. Though studying the image of the green and white version of the shoe, there does seem to be something there in the midsole, right in the centre there, a line. You can't really see it on the other colourways, and it left me intrigued. Maybe that's where they joined two parts of it together. I can't imagine that. Is there some sort of plate in there, possibly? Just not sure what's going on in the middle of that midsole. Any ideas? If you've got any suggestions, guys, or any thoughts what it could be, put them in the comments below. It's not really that prevalent on the other colorways, those other versions. You can't really see it that well. It's surely going to be a weighty shoe, this one. I can't see it being any lighter than the current Ultraboost. I know that some people really love the Ultraboost. They think it's an absolutely fantastic running shoe. For me, it's just too heavy. What are your views on this midsole foam behemoth? Story 4. It appears that the Vaporfly Next Percent isn't quite dead yet. I always thought rock and roll was here to stay, but it looks like the Vaporfly Next Percent could be here to stay as well. Some leaked images posted over on Instagram that I saw through Ben Johnson show a bright mango version of the Vaporfly Next Percent. Nike seem to be producing all sorts of extra colorways of this one. I know there's a black and white one that we haven't seen yet, and also now this bright mango color. I think a lot of people expected the Vaporfly Next Percent to be phased out with the introduction of the Alphafly Next Percent, but Nike clearly don't share that view, and they're going to keep knocking out new colorways of the shoe. Obviously there's still some demand there for it. People still want to buy it. Many people still really prefer the light nature of the Vaporfly Next Percent over the Alphafly. It's quite a considerable weight difference there. Certainly in my size, UK size 11, there was about 35 grams of difference. It's kind of noticeable on foot, especially if you're going to run 13 plus up to marathon distance maybe. You're going to probably sense the weight difference then. I know a lot of people still aren't massively keen on the vapor weave used on the Next Percent. I kind of like both the vapor weave and the atom knit that's on the Alphafly. I mean, the vapor weave stuff's much more flexible. It takes a little bit of time to get used to. Got to make sure the lockdown over the top of the foot is good. It's not quite so important in the Alphafly because the upper material itself is so rigid. I'm not really sure that the much more flexible upper on the Next Percent would work with those AirPods that are featured on the Alphafly. I think the upper's just too flexible. Are you surprised to see more colorways of the Vaporfly Next Percent being released? Do you think it's a shoe that's going to be around for years to come maybe? Or do you think it will be slowly phased out if there are perhaps new versions of the Alphafly produced? Let me know what you think down in the comments. That's all the running news for this week. A quick musical interlude. All this hot weather's got me thinking about the old band from the 90s, Supergrass. They used to knock out some great tracks. I know everybody knows Alright, yeah, it's a really great summer tune, but for me it was always about Sun Hits the Sky. I love that track, just really honest kind of guitar work, driving kind of organ sounds in there. Always used to bring a smile to my face. I think that was possibly my favourite album actually. I think that's from their second album. Other great tracks from that second album were Late in the Day and also Richard III. Really rocking stuff there. They were really good three-piece. I know they used to use other band members when they played live to fill the sound out a little bit. So do go and check them out if you haven't heard of them previously. The band Supergrass. Thanks for sticking with me till the very end. I've managed to make it, although I'm already feeling quite dehydrated. In fairness, I think I've done runs where I've not actually sweated this much. It's okay though, because apparently there's going to be a big thunderstorm later on and the temperatures are going to drop and there's going to be biblical amounts of rain for days on end, so there we go. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when new videos are launched. It would mean a lot to me as well if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your running buddies. My name's Ed Bud and I'll be seeing you.